It is my honor to introduce our distinguished panel of faculty members, each of whom are also alumni of the School of Behavioral and Brain Sciences, and each of whom have also made an incredible impact on our university, our school, and also students, alumni, and our communities. First, Dr. Kristin Atchison, Associate Professor of Instruction in Psychology. Dr. Sandra Bond Chapman, Chief Director, Center for Brain Health. Dr. Francesca Filbey, Senior Associate Provost, Bert Moore Endowed Chair and Professor, School of Behavioral and Brain Sciences. Dr. Angela Shoup, Executive Director of the Callier Center for Communication Disorders. Finally, Dr. Emily Touchstone, Professor of Instruction, Department of Speech, Language, and Hearing. Each of these individuals has made a lasting contributions to UT Dallas, to BBS, and to the broader fields they represent. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage. So I'll be asking all of you panelists some questions. Each of y'all can answer to the best of your ability, of course. First question, we can start with Dr. Emily Touchstone. First, what did you study at UT Dallas, and what brought you to UT Dallas?
I was thinking I didn't want to go first, but this is the way we're sitting, and that's fine. The alphabet working against my favor this time.
Don't worry, my last name's a Z, so it's always working against me.
I first joined UT Dallas as a student. Are we giving years?
Sure, yeah.
In 1998, joining the master's program for speech-language pathology. And then after some time in the field, I came back and joined again as a student, as a PhD student, working with Melanie Spence to get my PhD.
I may be the person that's been here the longest. I'm not for sure, although I did leave for a number of years. I actually was originally from Texas, but we moved to Tennessee when I was young. And I decided when I was 16 that I wanted to be an audiologist. And everybody in my family said, you have to go study at the Callier Center. And being obedient, I looked into coming back to Texas to go to school. And unfortunately, at that point, UT Dallas did not have freshman and sophomore classes. So I had to get my basics and then transfer into UT Dallas as quickly as I could.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Francesca Filbey, and my family moved from the Philippines to the Dallas area when I was in high school. Not knowing very much about the American university public system, and knowing that I was interested in studying the brain, I looked around the local area and was very pleased to find out that there was a cognition and neuroscience program right here at UT Dallas. And so I was one of the first master's graduate students from the ACN program here. And then I went on to other places and came back in 2010.
So when I was growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then they went to the moon before I got to do it, and I thought, I'm going to explore the amazing universe of the human brain. And I was teaching at UNT at that time, working with patients, and I could see that what I'd learned about what was possible about the human brain, we weren't putting into practice. And I said, I'm going to go back and get my PhD so I can do research in brain plasticity, neuroplasticity. And I said, but I'm too old. And my husband at the time said, well, you're going to be older anyway. You might as well be older with a PhD. so I joined, and in the middle of my degree, he passed away, but he had a dream for me. He said, because I was going to drop out, and he said, promise me you'll stick it out and not graduate, and someday have a center for your patients because they mean so much to you. And 20 years to the day that he died, I opened the Center for Brain Health.
Well, my story isn't as good as that. So I had done my undergraduate at A&M, and just like every other psychology student, I was going to be a clinical psychologist because that's the only thing I thought you could do. And then I worked in an infant lab as an undergraduate and was just like, wait, babies can do what? And was just blown away. And so it took a little bit of time off in between undergraduate and graduate school, and just really missed the research with infants. And so I looked to see kind of who was doing infant cognition research nearby, and Dr. Spence was. And so I joined as a PhD student in 2024, or 2004, not 24.
Do you get a lot of questions like, how can I be a better parent from your friends because you're feeling?
Sometimes, yes, and sometimes I like to hide that ability, and so I can just be their friend too.
Thank you. All right, another question. Okay, what is your favorite memory from your time as a student? You can take a second. It's fine. This is probably.
Well, I thought about the question, and I didn't really have one. I just had sort of an overarching idea of what was my favorite thing about being a student, and that's both during the master's program and the PhD, that being a student, I was always made to feel that as a student, that my contributions held value. And I worked with Michelle right here, and Bob. I even worked in Sandy. I did a project for Sandy's projects when it was a windowless room in Callier. But working on memory and aging and early childhood and autism, and as a master's student, the contributions that the students had value. And then, of course, working with Melanie. And I still work with Melanie to this day. It's been like 25 years. But all of our interactions, that they were, and Kristin was there too, but we were treated as valuable parts of a working lab.
Thank you.
I would have to echo that. I had so many wonderful collaborations while at the university, and part of it was due to the fact that we have a multidisciplinary program. So I came in with a very limited view of what I might become, and it expanded daily. And part of it was because of the fact that people helped me believe in myself and dream bigger. I would like to use as an example, though, the fact that we have such an incredible faculty here. And learning about their path and about how they were respected worldwide was so meaningful to me. As an example, Dave Hubel and Torsten Wiesel were invited to give to a seminar in their honor in Dallas. And one of my mentors that I worked with was Professor Alan Rupert. And when Dave Hubel and Torsten Wiesel, who won the Nobel Prize in medicine in 1981 due to their discoveries about visual cortex, were here for their presentation, Dave Hubel left early because he wanted to go spend time in the lab with Alan Rupert. And the reason he wanted to do so is that Alan is actually the person who trained him to record for microelectrodes. And so I got the opportunity to walk Torsten Wiesel back over to Callier from his presentation because he stayed a little bit longer. And Dave talked about the fact that he probably wouldn't have done visual cortex except for when Alan was training him. They were both working on auditory and visual cortex. And then after Alan had trained him at Walter Reed, he said, I've worked on the auditory cortex a long time. Why don't you take the visual and I'll focus on the auditory? And then the rest is history. So that is just one example of the amazing faculty we have here, and the fact that they often share their stories about their path, and others will share their stories about how they admire their work, which makes you very proud to be from here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I hate not to present something new that hasn't already been mentioned, but I think that I can't really find anything better than to say that my best memories are the faculty. Some of them are now my colleagues. I'm going to mention one specifically because it highlights the innovation that happens here. Innovation before you even know it's innovative. Again, I was an ACN student, master's student. This was in the mid-90s. And I took an artificial neural networks class in Richard Golan's class. He is a pioneer, world-renowned expert, and he still leads that program. And I can say that that's definitely impacted how I conduct my research today.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, Angela, I love that you shared that story because Hubel and Weasel was our first reprogramming the brain to health when we first started it. And we were like, we want to do something bold with Mike Kilgard and Steve Lomber. And so we said, and we thought they won't come, but they did. And it was, really kind of kicked off our brain series. So I still remember that, how incredible they were. But one of my first memories that to this day, if you're part of BBS, the thing that attracted me, because I was teaching at UNT at the time, and I thought, okay, go visit. And I went to visit with Dr. Bob Stillman, and he said, well, come watch what I do. And he went into the Callier, the deaf-blind program, and here was this renowned auditory physiologist, and I'm like, and there he was, hugging and comforting a deaf-blind child that was losing it, and the love he showed. Here is a scientist showing so much love and pouring his heart out. I said, that's where I want to go, because Bob Stillman, what the love he showed and the incredible scientist that he is, to this day, it's a memory in my heart that stays. And he's someone that I don't ever want to let go of, because we're kind of the old timers here. So.
I think one of my favorite memories was, and again, to echo the support that we got from faculty and what support we got from the school, was I had been a longtime teaching assistant for Betty Edelman, who was just a wonderful statistics educator and could bring it down to a level that students who did not want to be in that class could really appreciate. And I got the opportunity to teach it myself one summer, and I just was like in love with it, and to the extent that I have now asked to teach statistics back, and still just love teaching that class. And some of the images I use are still Betty Edelman's images, because she was so generous and she gave me all of her, at the time, transparencies, and I put them all into PowerPoint because I was modern, but just the legacy that all of our educators gave us, kind of regardless whether it was in the lab or in the classroom, I think it really just kind of shaped, it sounds like, who we all are.
Thank you all for those wonderful answers. I'd like to ask a question in regards to the future generations, with all the new students and the students that you teach, the new types of curriculum, new science that comes out. What do you see as the future of your study, like especially with the future generation of the undergraduate students?
I'd like to think that because, in every role I've had here, the people that I get to work with are amazing. And the collaborative spirit that we have at UT Dallas is really what keeps us grounded. And I hope that as we grow, which we're growing, I hope that we remember the importance of this collaborative spirit, so that we have a feeling of intimacy, or a feeling that we're small is big, no matter how big we get. So the collaborative spirit is what I hope to see for our programs and for our school moving forward.
I think that the program, Human Development and Communication Sciences originally, but now Behavioral and Brain Sciences, was prescient, because I think that the value that I gained from having a group of multidisciplinary, excellent experts guide me and teach me to think differently has not only contributed significantly to improving my ability to care for patients and how to educate and counsel patients, because I've always talked a lot about the brain. As I argued when I was a student, that the brain was the most important organ of hearing, and it's absolutely true. I think that if we continue with that path for our students, we're equipping them to be better healthcare providers and to be better scientists, because we recognize that team science, that we're working in a very complex environment for both healthcare and science, and that team science and team healthcare are much more effective, and that equipping somebody with the background understanding of developmental psychology, neuroscience, the brain, if they're going to be an audiologist or speech-language pathologist, allows them to grow and change as our professions grow and change.
Thank you.
What BBS has been founded on, and I've that, as you've heard already mentioned multiple times, is the interdisciplinary nature of it. And so I hope and I know it's going to continue to grow in that direction, with the various centers already being that translational aspect of the basic research that we do. And now with the clinical program within BBS that's coming, I think that we will be we'll be able to bridge that gap where the community can have better access to the great science that we have here.
I think the future students better step back, hold on, because UT Dallas is going to take over, especially with BBS and the energy. You know, we got a trademark on BrainHealth in 25 years ago because it was so new. So we've done the research to create a whole new field. UT Dallas is going to lead the world in delivering brain health for students. If you think about everything that makes you who you are, it is your brain. And so there's not a discipline that isn't helped by that. UT Dallas, BBS, is going to lead that, right, Dr. Dean? Yes. Let's go brain health for BBS. And BBS is they're transformative, the way all of us work together. And I agree with all the disciplines that we work with across neuroscience, with pain, Kilgard that you're going to get to work with, having worked with him so much and different things. It's just, you want to be part of UT Dallas, and students are going to get excited. It's going to be it is a world-class place, but the excitement here is going to change the world.
Going last, everybody steals your ideas before you get to say them. But just to echo what everyone's already said, I think one of the things that we do best, and I can hope to continue to see it grow, is really that translation of all of the research areas that we have in ways that are really accessible, not just for our students to understand, but the community members to understand. I mean, things like the Center for Children and Families Play With Me program, teaching parents and caregivers how to play with their kids in ways that really supports their development. It's just one of many of the wonderful centers that we have that really meet the community where they are and offer this evidence-based science information that really can help them just improve their lives, like BrainHealth and the pain centers and all of the different centers we have here at BBS.
Awesome. Thank you all for those questions. The next question, I would like to ask you to get a little creative. Imagine if BBS receives a blank check. What would you hope to see the future of BBS, either a new development or what would that look like? What would you hope BBS obtains in that blank check?
I'm ready.
I would say a new building.
I was
I'm
going
going to
to
drop in a
low-hanging
new
fruit.
big
Green
building.
can be reimagined. It can still be called Green Hall. It can just be something newer and brighter and shinier and bigger, with lots of lab space and huge classrooms.
And no asbestos.
It's bad for your brain, right? Yeah.
I would agree. The most important thing about BBS is the people, the faculty, the students, the staff. And we need to have facilities and infrastructure that support their genius so that we can actually allow them to explore and make the contributions they can to our society. It does require significant infrastructure. And so many times our labs are not sufficient for people to explore their big ideas and develop something that could then be translated into real solutions for real people and families. So I would argue for improved infrastructure to support those pursuits.
It's always nice.
We're all very much united because I'm going to say the exact same thing. Well, I'm going to say two things. I'm going to say because I'm at the Center for Brain Health, which is located in Dallas, and so all of my students have to make that commute. I think toll tags for everyone, or at least express pass. But also that space, because when we are in downtown locations, we don't have space here on campus because space is very limited for those who don't have space elsewhere. And so the folks who are dividing their time between here and downtown areas are having to commute almost half of the time that they have.
I think space also means parking too.
So I would take a chunk of the money and I would put it in to student endowment, just supporting promising students, like some of what's been done, and get everyone here to match so that the alumni of BBS, we hold ourselves responsible and we give back to our school, and this money could help us to say, hey, we'll match that. But I've given to BrainHealth. I haven't been quite as good about giving to BBS, but if all of us every single year would do something, our students need funding. So I'd use part of the money in the building that's going to happen here to support the students, because we need those scholarships, fellowships, and RA. And for us to really feel like we support it. I think, when you go to UT Austin, SMU, their alumni give massively. BBS hasn't been that great in doing that, and I'm guilty. I think I need to write a check today. But this is something that I think we owe for our alma maters.
I also agree. I think having more support for our students, whether that be in terms of tuition, whether that be in terms of programs. Again, one of the things we do so well is these applied opportunities, but there's just not enough of them for all of the students that really want to be a part of them. I mean, even just to be an undergraduate teaching intern in my classes, I always get 3 times the number of students that I can take. And so we just need, I would say, take that blank check and come up with, not in our beautiful new building, some other programs for our undergraduates as well. We're really great at it at our graduate level, but I think we could improve that for our undergraduates as well.
Thank you all for your wonderful answers. I have one final question. I get this a lot when I have the privilege of giving these tours to prospective students at UTD, and they think BBS is like, wow, those undergraduates, like, neuroscience, that's too hard. I can't do that. Like, I'm just not. They don't think that they could possibly succeed in pursuing a degree like that. My question would have to be, in your experience, were you ever intimidated in pursuing your studies? And if so, what did you do to get past that? And how could students now get past that?
Yeah, I'm still intimidated. I mean, I am. Like, the job ahead, whatever the job is, it seems scary. And at the student level, I get that, and I remember it too. But I think the support of leaning into the support of the faculty that they're willing to provide, and also the fellow students, and whatever other supports, and there are many available here at UT Dallas. I think finding those supports and using them to your advantage is the best way to make it to the next day, and then the next week, and then the next semester, and then the next thing you know, you graduate, and it feels great.
Thank you.
I have to say ditto again because, like Emily, I still feel very intimidated. But I would say that put your whole heart into it. Show your interest and engagement, because then you will engage with the professors who will guide your studies, and they will believe more in you than you believe in yourself. I have to thank Bob Stillman, Alan Rupert, George Michigan, Ross Roser, Bert Moore, Jim Bartlett, all of these people who kept thinking that I could be more than I thought I could be. Tom Bauer, Richard Golden, a lot of people that have been really influential, but the way that I became engaged with them was I first showed deep interest in the materials that they were offering to me. So I think that I would tell students, get out of your own way, go after your education very enthusiastically, put more into it than you think you're going to get out of it, because you're actually going to reap way more rewards if you put a lot more into it.
I think what I would make sure students these days know is that that's how everybody feels. And it's already been mentioned, but we all feel this way. They're not alone, and that UTD does have a lot of support resources available for them, not just within BBS, but UTD-wide.
So I was intimidated because my major professor, I don't know if Hannah started in 1975 or not, but was she? And Ross, but But when I joined her lab, one doctoral student had taken 18 years to graduate. The other one was 12, and the other one hadn't graduated yet. And I was the fourth student. And I'm like, do you think I'll ever graduate from this person? She was tough. And then after I got in there, I realized I can make it through anything now. Right? She was tough, but the curiosity and the determination. I remember when I had this idea of the center, she'd say, "You'll never have your center." And I said, "No." So that made me go even more tiger. So I think that the toughness almost makes you kind of more excited about what you can achieve. And it's the prestige of being part of UTD. It's not for everyone. And the fact that you're here is like, you're pretty special, and I think you will feel that when you're here. So that's what I say. But yes, I was intimidated, but I did graduate.
Yeah, I think it's just part of being human to be scared about new things, and school is definitely that, and classes are that, and again, I teach statistics, so I get a lot of that "can I do this" feeling. And I think it's important to, and I tell my students too, hey, the first time I took statistics, that was the hardest time I ever took it, because it's a completely different way to use math than you've previously used it. And so kind of echoing our own insecurities, and going alongside students and really supporting them where they need to be and where they want to be, because their goals are our goals. And so I think that's one of the things that's nice about BBS is we do have this community, and we lift each other up, including our students.
Thank you all for your answers.